Get insurance now. It will be discontinued. The arm of the system. The screams were not a prisoner of war camp. It came from St. Jude's room 304. Memorial Hospital. The man inside. He is dying. Parts of his body are shutting down. His blood will be poisonous, but he will choose to die fighting rather than being stabbed touching the skin. The doctors called him. He was scared. He called the police. Dangerous. But Nurse Sarah Jenkins saw it. Another thing. She didn't look crazy. Man. She saw a soldier still holding him. Line. And to save his life, she had to break protocol and say 5 words. It wasn't in any medical book. A secret code that has not yet been revealed loud since 1972. Not only did what happened next save him, life. She revealed a hidden story. As if someone wants to be buried forever. The rain was beating on the glass. The intensive care unit at St. Jude Memorial creates a drum with a beat. It often helps to stop crying. Monitors. But nothing could be done tonight. Overcoming the chaos that erupts from the room 304. Don't touch me. I gave it to you right away. Order. His voice was gravelly and glassy, throaty. The smoke has dissipated over the years and it sounds like he's screaming. Dr. Gregory Evans was standing in the hallway. Adjusting his glasses, his face masked. It was a tired, frustrated man. He was 28 years old, he left the house, and he persuaded every problem can be solved. The correct dosage of lorazepam. Nurse Jenkins, he shouted without looking. Away from the scoreboard. He writes notes in anger. John Doe now within 304 limits. If we don't find them that 4 in him in an hour, he'll go in septic shock. Sarah Jenkins didn't to be moved immediately. She was a 45-year-old man, a 20-year-old woman. A veteran of the trauma unit. She saw drug dealers cry for their mothers and corporate CEOs curse God. She knows the difference between the patient delirium and the patient he's scared. He's not John Doe Gregory, Sarah said in a calm but firm voice. The bag says Arthur Vance, and it's not him. Psychotic. He protects the environment. He broke Nurse Sarah's nose. Evans hissed and finally raised his head. What is a confused and rebellious old man? I'm dying of what seems like a fever right now. Advanced heavy metal poisoning and sepsis. He is dangerous to himself and to me. Workers. Restrict. Anesthesia. He. In that order, Sarah sighed and held the horse's tail tightly. She was admitted to room 304, seriously ill. The rubber soles of her shoes squeak. Linoleum. There was a war zone in the room. There was a piece of metal. The tray table is overturned. Gua and alcohol wipes were scattered all over the floor. Snow. In the middle of the bed, leaning. Arthur sat at the head of the bed. Artie Vance. He looked like a wreck. The man was a skeleton, and his skin was the same color. Old parchment covered with liver stains and wounds that tell stories of violence. His left eye was blurry. Cataract, but penetrating right eye it was icy blue, sharp, shooting all around. It occupies space, and assesses risks. A plastic container of water like a bomb. Stay back, Artie shouted. His chest heaved. High up, ribs visible through it. A thin hospital gown. I know who sent it. You. Tell the director it wasn't me. I signed, I will not sign the exit. The letters. 2 large security guards were on the move. Door, waiting for the signal to force entry. For him. They seem worried. This old man, even though it probably weighs 130 pounds and is wet, it exuded a kind of deadly force. "Mr. Vance," Sarah said as she passed by. "Guards." She raised her hands, palms up. "Open. My name is Sarah. I'm from Director. I came here to clean up that wound on your leg." "You're a liar." The artist spat. He shook the image and the water flowed. "In the room. I know the protocol. First sedation, then extubation. It's not leading me to blackface. I'm going to die here on this hill." "Sarah." She stopped. She watched his breathing. There was no high air circulation of fear. Attack. Controlled. Tactical breathing. Not fighting. In the hospital, his memory grew stronger. "Take the belts off," Dr. Evans ordered. At the door. "That's enough." "Wait." The guards ran forward. Loud exhaust noise, explosion. Even in a weakened state, the government is closely linked to the leadership, the guard's knee groaned. Falling, Artie's chest was broken from behind. Mattress. The old man's heartbeat. A rhythm controller that beeps at high frequency. Warning. 140,150,160. Get away from me, broken arrow. Broken arrow. Artie shouted, his voice, Chris. "Give him an injection," Evans shouted. Sarah looked at Artie's face. It wasn't like that. Anger is no longer there. It was pure and unmixed. Fear. He looked at the ceiling. But she knows he saw the plate, forest canopy. It wasn't at St. Jude's. It was him. Somewhere else, somewhere dying, and they believed these people were enemies. "Stop." Sarah screamed and ran between them. The doctor's needle and the patient. "It moves, Sarah," Evans shouted. "Look at him." "Card, doctor." Sarah looked up. "Monitor. The heart is in AIB. It's beating." While he was there, he held that comforter. They stop because the adrenaline is too high. "Heart. You won't cure it. You'll kill it." That. The room was quiet. The guard he caught the old man Artie while he was breathing. Tears were flowing from his good eyes. Now complaining, repeating, despairing. Part 77, severe static electricity, confirmed. Extraction. Section 77, heavy static electricity. "Leave it. Go," Sarah said softly. "What if we go?" she said. "Go away, you're being attacked," the guard shouted. "He's attacking because of you." "Attack," Sarah said. "Retreat." Everyone left the room. "I can't." "Give him permission," said Ivan, looking at his face. "Red. Then write to me." "Sarah, cut it out and throw it away." Eyes twitch. "But if it's about code, you are wearing the comforter you were given." "Excuse me, Gregory, give me 5 minutes." Only Evans stared at him with his mouth closed. "The pacemaker is faulty," and then goes in. A wild look in Art's eyes. He was holding his gaze. "Put your hand up." 5 minutes. If you're not addicted. Until then, I'll call it 4. To calm the police down so they could go to him. Psychiatric department. The room became empty. The door closed with a click. It was just Sarah, Artie, and the spirits that brought him. Silence returned to room 304, except for the old heavy breathing. Man wisdom fought. At the head of the bed, knees drawn up, confirming. He didn't see Sarah. He looked at her. Eyes on the door, waiting for the second one. The wave of attacks. Sarah didn't. She approached him. Instead, they closed the window, closed the curtains, and locked themselves in. From the storm. Then she pulled out a chair. She sat on the edge of the bed. She didn't speak. She just waited. She noticed it. She noticed the details. The doctors disappeared while they were there. She looked at the blood tests. She noticed the tattoo on his arm. Faded, undetectable, hidden a faint burn mark. But she can tell. Poor appearance of the chest, a night and a flash of lightning. He noticed his hands. Even though they were shaking, the right index finger continued to twitch. Teenager and bobine. Tick 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 loss. She noticed how he held his head. He leaned slightly to the left, which is appropriate. With his good ears, he listens to the footsteps. "Sergeant, you are tired," Sarah said. He spoke in a soft voice. Artie didn't turn back, but the knocking stopped. He turned slowly. "I'm not a sergeant," he said. Fragmented. "I am a landscape architect." Sarah allowed herself a slightly sad smile. Landscape architects don't use the term. When they are afraid, a broken arrow, Artie. And they don't know how to break a man. He tapped his nose with his palm. Art narrowed his eyes. "Take me. File, the agency will send you." "Only a nurse who grew up in a crowded house." "Silence," said Sarah. She bowed. "Forward, resting your elbows on it." "My knees. My father was in the ministry. He didn't tell us where he was. But every July 4th he wasn't watching the fireworks. He was sitting. The lights are off in the basement." Art's jaw clenched. He looked back. "Many boys don't like fireworks." Sarah agreed, "Of course. But my father, tattoos, knights and lightning bolts, just what you're trying to hide. Under that sign." Art froze. The air inside. I felt the temperature of the room drop 10 degrees. He looked at his hand, then again. "Sarah, the view is deadly. You see things you shouldn't, son. It's dangerous. Habit. He died 4 years ago." "Sarah," he continued, ignoring the threat. "Cancer. But before the end comes," when he made morphine talk, he kept asking. "For class 77. If he asks repeatedly." The area was cold. The breath of wisdom. An expression of deep sorrow has disappeared on his face, which made him scream out loud. "Outside. Room 77, he whispered. "There is no room. 77, it was demolished in 85. We will not do it." He said, "Now you have it, Artie. And you are." She was sick. Sarah stood up slowly. "An infection on your foot. It's poison. If I don't give you my blood, antibiotics, you will die. The light of glory. It is not a well-kept secret. You will die in a bed that smells like antiseptic." Is this how a soldier goes to Unit 77? Did it come out? Artie looked at the 4-pole. It looked like a snake. It wasn't a snake. He whispered the medicine, and his voice spoke. Shaky. "It's sleep. I can't sleep. If it were me. Sleep, I speak. And when I speak, you will find it. From where this is." "Where is what?" Sarah asked softly. "Artificial." He hit him hard on the gall bladder. "The account record. I have the record here. Coordinates, names, things we sold Nicaragua, we left them. He looked at Sarah with pleading eyes. Doctorate degree, Evans, he seems to be one of them. Same eyes as the coach. If I go he's going to ask me down. I can't let him. That's in my head. Then Sarah realized that this was not the case. PTSD. This man was a man of secrets, so it became poisonous, his whole being. He believed it was the last line. Protection for the mission completed in 30 AD years ago. The doctor is not a doctor, Artie. He's an arrogant boy, Sarah. Yes, but I understand you can't. To agree with the mission. The mission, it's not over, Artie said as he opened it for him. Sheets. We are always awake. Sarah, he looked at the clock. He still had 3 minutes left. Evans will definitely be back and the police were forcing him, he may have been drugged, perhaps he has caused him such terrible harm that he has reached this point. Cardiac arrest point. She had to reach out to bridge the gap. Soldier in a madman. She should have used the secret she had been given. She never spoke. Doorknob. He trembled. Evans fell into a trap. Sarah walked to the side of the bed. He needed to be close. I needed her too. He heard it, but he couldn't let it go. If Artie believes the room's microphone, Artie, she said, taking it. He whispered. Look at me. He lifted his head, now shaking a lot, feverish. The vat vase. Come back. Surround yourself. I'll show you. You have something, Sarah said, raising her voice. It falls in a whisper. My his name was Thomas Jenkins. His call Iron Edge. The artist's eyes opened. The paint was dry. From the front. Ironside. Tommy. No. Tommy didn't arrive. I took him to the exit. I waited. He stayed in the mud for 3 days. He did it, Artie. He went out and she spent 40 years of her life caring for shoulder. Sarah held Art's hand. The one holding his hand a strong vibration like metal. He taught me something. He said, if I were you, have I ever met a man with a horse on his leg? Poor thing, and I wanted him to believe me, to indicate a counterattack. Artie paused. Breathing. Looking at her tears. A puddle in his eyes. He waited. One evidence. If she was wrong, he would slap her. Her neck. He was old, but he weapon. Sarah leaned against his ear. She remembered the nights her father was there. When he woke up with a loud noise and how calm he was. You are repeating this phrase to yourself. They weren't just words. They were prayers. It was the verification code for Unit 77. A sign that you are the person you used to be. He talked to his family, he was sure it was him. Alive. Sarah spoke the words clearly. The shadow is long, but the fox runs fast. Midnight. Artie had to take a deep breath. A man who is sinking by breaking the ground. He opened his mouth and looked at her. It's gone. The paranoia is gone. It was heartbreaking instead. Vulnerability. There was no soldier. There was no soldier. The lost brother found his home. And the moon. She has Art. He replied in a broken voice. The moon does not pay debts. Sarah shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. Get out. To accommodate, Sergeant. Artie leaned against the pillows, the war that comes out of his body. He looked. Pole 4, then to Sarah. Exit. Okay, nurse. Hold the line. The door opened quickly. Dr. Evans ran in, accompanied by 2 police officers and 3 security guard. "Time's up, Jenkins. Go. Stay away from the patient. The police are watching him. Get out. Stop." Sarah held out her hand. Enough of the games, Sarah. Evans. He shouted and took the road. "Dr. Evans," said Artie. The voice was different now. It was quiet, dictatorship. The voice of one man. He ordered the people in the darkness. "Wait." Evans froze. The change in his voice. It was concrete. "The nurse," Artie said. The group said, shaking and pointing. "Sarah. She is the only one who touches me. The assigned doctor. Anyone else coming within this 3-meter radius in bed, I take it as a task." Aggression. He looked at the police. "Officers, and your children don't want to do it. That document." Police officers. They looked at each other, then fell silent. The old man. "Step back." "Okay. Evans." He sighed and raised his hands. But if we backed away, startled him. Sarah moved. Quickly. She prepared the nasal syringe. Artie didn't. She looked at her. Deep gratitude and appreciation. When the needle pierces the skin, he didn't go. He leaned forward. He whispers to Sarah. "You're Tom's girlfriend." "Yes," she whispered again. Lightning disappears. Artie whispered, "He saved my life at 82. He is waiting for it now." Wish 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 eyes when the medicine starts to flow. "But Sarah, you have to be careful." Code he speaks. He stirs things up. "It's just a code, Artie," she comforted him. "It won't." Artie muttered, his eyes wandering. "Weakness overcame me. The lighthouse. If you call it, it will listen." "Who?" Sarah asked, suddenly feeling emotional. "It trembles on the back of her neck." His voice was barely audible as it swayed. "The man who shot me, horse. Not dead, Sarah. And he is in this city." Sarah was stunned. He looked at the door. The hospital corridor. It suddenly felt very long and very dark. She thought she had it now. Paranoid patient. But when you look at critical monitor, she realized something scary. He said that the RT file was accepted for a failure at a construction site. But she lifted his hospital gown and looked at it. She looked at his stomach. It wasn't his stomach. The wound from the fall was fresh. A gunshot wound is a must. Fishing line. Art did not fall. He followed him and brought him here. And the code says, Sarah is here now. They unknowingly changed St. Jude Hospital. On a target. Sarah is related to the shape in which she sleeps. Artie Vance, haar hand bew in haar latex gloves. It's a storm outside. Strengthening sharp shadows, every time lightning strikes, it hits the wall. Lightning flashed, but there was no thunder. Compared to Hurricane Saran, I thought. Gunshot wound. The situation. Medical professionals in Washington mandatory reporting. If a patient a gunshot wound was seen, the police should have been notified immediately. The protocol was clear. He called the defendant. Nurse. Call the police, provide documentation. Everything. But it wasn't just Artie. He couldn't wait any longer. He was her spirit. His father's past. He was also a tailor. With fishing line, field equipment closing what Sarah knows. Her father had similar wounds on his body. The moon does not pay debts. Phrase it echoed in her head. This is a unit that did not officially exist. She called the police, she didn't just stay silent. She reports a crime. For anyone who has set the dinner bell, she had a bullet in Artie's stomach. The decision was a career-ending one. Decision, possibly a prison sentence. She made the decision, but she decided. A fresh stomach pillow covering the wound, and they hid the fishing rod by taping it shut. Underneath the pure white stitching lines home loan. The graph shows the erosion of the fallen ribbon, the graph shows the erosion of the fallen ribbon, she whispered to herself. So. Oh shit, she said and started cleaning. Clean the dirt and remove grease from it. Face. He looked like a young man underground. Older than the file indicated. He was 68 years old, but his body was as weak as an 80-year-old man. While moving her quilted jacket from the chair to the closet, anything. It fell. There was no bag. Heavy silver Zippo lighter. Sarah accepted it. It was cold and it was scratched. She opened it. Habit. Not ignited. Chally away. But when he enters, she felt her hand, a layer that shouldn't be there. There. There is nothing under the lamp. Look to the right. She looked out the door. I made sure the corridor was empty and in use. To pierce the bottom of the nail, he danced with the light board. Soft click. In the gap. The fuel compartment is wrapped in a piece of oil. The card was a microSD card. You got it. Sarah was about to jump. He threw the leader. Art was awake. His blue eyes were open, clear, and wide. Is this an accounting book? I thought. Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The digital copy. Artie scratched. He tried to sit up, but groaned and fell back into place. His sighed. Antibiotics worked. I had a fever, but the pain was still there. Raw. The first paper blocks were burned. In Nicaragua in '86. But I backed it up. I knew. They will come and clean it one day. History. Artie, who are they? Sarah too. He was beside the bed, holding the dough tightly. Who shot him? What about you? Art was struggling to breathe. He called the horse. His real name. Julian Cain. At that time, he was the only one. Logistics officer, pencil press. But he figured out how to move the product. Through conflict zones. Weapons, hero, intelligence. He has 77 as his own class. Private mule team, and we didn't even do it. I know everything. Artie stretched out his hand, he grabbed Sarah's wrist. The handle weak, desperate. Your father, Ironside. He was the first to doubt. He tried to give orders by radio, but the communication channels are closed. Cain is stuck. They left us to be in the forest. To go too far to nothing witnesses. Sarah het Jevoel ho en latur har wang gly. My father said he was divorced. But he said this. There was chaos. There was murder. It's fixed. Tom left. I left. 2 others. We scattered, we changed our names, he remained outside the grid. But Cain stood. Through the ranks. Now he is powerful. Sarah, private contractor, security consultation. He will leave. It ends up being suitable for cabinet space. Position. If the Senate finds out that he built his wealth with blood money, he's going to kill you. Sarah is done. He killed him. Miller killed in Detroit last week. Holloway spent 2 days in intensive care in Miami before. It made it look like a heart attack. Art looked at the heart monitor next to him. For him. That's why I don't let them. It touches me. A needle is a perfect tool. Sarah looked at the microSD card inside. Hand. It wasn't just data. Death penalty order. Why did you come here? Sarah asked. Why, Holy One? Judah. I didn't come here, Artie. It was allowed. I was going to Canada. Border. He took me to him. Rel Lard. I've conceded a goal. I've lost. He was in the storm, but I was lost in it. Go a few blocks away. The ambulance brought me here. With deep sorrow. Sorry, Sarah, I am the one who brought the war. Front door. You need to get that card. Give it to a journalist. The best journalist. New York Times, Washington Post. Then you have to run. I won't leave you, Sarah said firmly. You don't understand, Artie whispered, trying to get up again. But Cain, leave the witnesses and go. If you find me here, you will find him. If it burns down the entire building, it will burn down. For him. Suddenly the air call system completely cracked. Gray code. Main lobby. Security in the main lobby. Code gray. Code gray means a security risk. A warrior or defender. Sarah looked at the clock. It was 2 o'clock. They were. The hospital was closed. At night, only the entrance for injured people was open. Art became stronger. He knew that voice. It was a local voice. Violation. He's here, Artie whispered. Hide. Card, Sarah. Hide the place where God himself is. I can't find it. Sarah reinserted the microSD card. Zippo lighter, bottom broken. Close it and allow it to fall forward. The bag with her clothes. She grabbed Artie's bag. Hand. You're safe here. She lied, his heart was beating violently in his sides. It's a hospital. There are cameras there. They are witnesses. Artie received her with compassion. The man who saw villages disappear maps. The cameras are broken, Sarah. And the witnesses. Witnesses are easily lost. 3 floors below in the spacious area the lobby of St. Jude's is illuminated by fluorescent lights. The atmosphere changed from sleep to sleep. I was scared within 30 seconds. He was the night shift security guard. Ben was a retired high school student. Football coach, wonderful and friendly, who they spent most of the night solving crossword puzzles. A puzzle. It wasn't ready for Julian. Cain. Cain was standing at the banquet. It doesn't look like a monster. It was visible. Like a corporate masterpiece architecture. He was wearing a suit sewn with charcoal. Clothes that cost more than Ben had years. His hair was silver, and he was perfect. His broken, rimless glasses were seized. The light that hit his eyes. A dripping black umbrella rainwater on the soft surface. There were 2 people standing behind him. Large, wearing tactical pants and black what is the windscreen with the VAE logo. It looked official, but it didn't make any sense. They stand with their hands clasped in front of them. From them, scanning the room the boredom of Apex Legends. Sir, as I said, Ben was stammering in his hand. Hover over the phone. Visiting hours. It ended at 8 o'clock. It's just not possible to run here. Cain smiled. His smile was unusual. It reached his eyes. Just like that. Facial muscle twitching. I understand the protocol, officer, but this is a matter of national security. A fugitive is following us. Significant biological threat. Biological. Ben closed his eyes. Ken inserted a worn-out plate. Outside the shelf. There was a room. Security seal, holographic chip and en Klaringvlak what Ben nog nooit hebben het nie. First of all, the person is Arthur Vance. He is a patient who has been released from quarantine. Thing is, he wears a lot. A type of contagious viral hemorrhagic fever. He is crazy, cruel and very sticky. Ben stepped back and held out his hand. The counter. The glue. He welcomed us here and said he had just found us. John Doe fell ill with sepsis. This is the main story that captured his mind. It was created. Cain lied openly. He believed. He is a soldier. He believes that he is being made. Shooting. This is part of the pathology. You should take it out immediately before you leave. He is defiling your employees. Where is he? Ben hesitated. I need to call the manager. Cain leaned forward. The air pressure inside the room seems to be falling apart. Call, you're wasting your time. If you're wasting your time, the virus is spreading. Do you want to be? He is responsible for the explosion in your country. City, Ben. He knew the guard's name. He didn't see the name tag. Ben swallowed hard. He looked inside. Computer. Room 304, Intensive Care Unit, 3rd floor. Thank you, Ben. You are a veteran. Cain stood up and shook his head. Men. Lock the exits. Disable. Outgoing phone line. Let's start. Quarantine protocol. No one will leave until then. I have the wealth. As Cain walked to the elevator, he picked up the phone to call Dr. Evans. The phone was disconnected. He tried the mobile phone. Phone. No signal. He looked at the men. Those who guard the gates. One of them did. A small black device thrown from his pocket. His lament. Ben then realized that this was not the case. It was a complete invasion. Sarah was pacing back and forth on the 3rd floor. She pushed the heavy chair inside. In front of the door, a pale wall, but this was something. You need a gun, Artie said. Now sit directly on the side of the bed. The adrenaline that overcame his weakness. It was a pair of surgical scissors. He was thrown off the tray. I'm a nurse, artistic. We don't use weapons, Sarah said. Scanned by her eyes, a place for all the heavy stuff. It's a tool that you push too hard. Enough, Artie replied. The elevator. She dropped something in the hallway. Sarah froze. It was the only elevator that gave access. Intensive care unit at night. Walking. The steps were slow, deliberate, rough. The skin on the plates. They are distinguished by nurse crocodiles make soft noises or a group of doctors. The footprint of the person who bought the land. He continued walking. Sarah pressed her ear against the door. Sounds heard at the nurse's station. Gentlemen, may I help you? It was Dr. Evans. He looks angry as usual. It is a restricted area. Dr. Evans, a cheerful baritone voice, he replied, I am Agent Cain. We are here. For the patient in 304. John Doe, Evans joked. He's in critical condition. He is septic. We can't move. We have obstacles. The room is down, Cain said. Step aside, doctor. I won't do it, said Evans. Despite everything. His pride, Gregory Evans, the doctor who took his oath seriously. This it is under my control. You have no authority. Here is an order. 1. Pause, a heavy and precise silence. Show. Cain gave him a command. A muffled scream like the hitting of a heavy book table and body sound follow. He hit the floor. Sarah covered her mouth and sighed. Dr. Evans. One of the other nurses shouted. Oh God, what have you done? He simply. Cain's voice echoed within her. It was a quiet and eerie hall. In a very chaotic situation. The nurse took me to room 304. The nurse was demonstrating high ventilation. 3004, Cain repeats. Now join them both. Doctor. Sarah turned to Artie. The old woman. The man was now standing, barely able to support himself. Pillar 4. It looked like a skeleton. Warrior. Scissors. Back grip. He's killing us, Sarah whispered. He'll try, Artie. Help me get to the door. What? No, we have to ban it. It's bans. For those who are waiting for salvation. Artie said, his eyes burning with cold. Fire. No one is coming, Sarah. To break the trap. Open the door. You're crazy. Open the door. Check. The target and falling to the floor. With skill ordered. It was the voice of Unit 77. They did. She held Sarah's trembling hand. The door handle. She pulled the chair. She walked away. Her heart was beating so hard that she could feel it in her throat. She turned. The door opened with quick steps. Stay 10 meters away in the middle. The corridor was Julian Cain. He looked. He looked flawless. He was upset when he saw it. Sarah, he smiled. Mrs. Jenkins, of the late Thomas Jenkins. I see his family. Agreement. You have a stubborn beard. Go, Sarah said in a trembling voice. Give me the old man and you go. Cain nodded and took a step forward. Sarah, I have no quarrel with you. You civil. Hand him over. He is a patient. Free corner. Cain catches it with his hand. Jacket. I didn't pull out a badge this time. Time. He pulled out a gun with a silencer. Last chance. Sarah didn't move. He stood at the door and closed his eyes. From the bed. It's so sad. Cain sighed. He raised his gun. Now. Artie shouted from inside the room. Sarah fell to the floor and gathered herself. Ball. Artie was in no hurry to leave. He didn't shoot. He kicked the rod that was going to pierce his veins. He built it. As Sarah walked back and forth, she created a circle. Oxygen tube around the wheel's heavy metal stand and back tray table. He kicked it with his strong hand. Leg, which allows the metal stand to slide like a bowling ball in the hallway. Cain fired one shot and shot 2 shots. When approaching the iron pillar he retreated in fear, running away. The wreckage. Fire alarm. Artie shouted. Sarah. Get him out. Sarah scolded him. Hands and knees on the hallway floor, to the red box on the wall. That. Cain commanded the men. It comes from the corner. One tactical officers approached Sarah. She pulled her pleated shirt in her hand. She screamed and shook her back. Artie appeared at the door. He looked. He stood there, clothed in the flesh of death. Throw away the heavy glass container of water. Perfect photographic accuracy. It's ruined. In front of the tactical officer, it shattered into sharp pieces. "The man," she cried, and let go of Sarah. He jumped forward and threw his hand down. In white gloves. Clang, voice, sound. The fire alarm went off. The strobe light. The light started to turn on and walking in a confusing nightmare, white explosions and darkness. "Go. Artie," he shouted and grabbed Sarah's arm. Amazing power. "Go inside. Ladder." "We can't escape them," Sarah cried. He held the weight when they stumbled. "We're going to the exit. We don't have to run." Artie took a deep breath, waving his hand. The blooming sighed. "We just have to go there." Why a submarine?" "Because," Artie smiled, "the blood is staining your teeth." "It's true. The oxygen tanks are being maintained, and I need them. To build a bomb." The steps. Concrete eco room. The wail, the fire alarm went through the wall. A scream with a rhythm that echoes the sound it makes. It's hard to breathe, but it's not heavy boots that scream from it, the floors above. Sarah put Artie's arm around her. His shoulders were heavy. "The adrenaline is coming." The room faded, replaced by the grim reality of sepsis and blood loss. Every step of the way was a struggle. "Let me go," Artie stumbled inside. "Accommodation on the first floor." "Go. Run." "Shut up, Sergeant." "Sarah." He was blown away by using the title against him. "We will not leave men behind. This code, right?" Artie looked at it, a spark of pride penetrates. Pain in his eyes. "You are indeed Tommy's." The girl arrived on the submarine. It was heavy metal, marked with a license. "For workers only. High-pressure oxygen storage." Sarah agreed with the matter. The defense bar and enter the cold, noisy darkness of the hospital guts. It was a mechanical heart. St. Jude. The giants began to whistle as if in sleep. Dragons. Thick colored threads. It swung on the roof. And in corner, the hut is more like a sword chained. The chain link fence features tall green rows. Oxygen tanks. Circuit breaker panel, Artie commando, point your finger at it to make it shake. On a gray industrial wall, switches and the main generator transfer switch. "What should we do?" Sarah asked, leading him to tanks. "Cain people. They have heat sinks. Optics." He coughed and spit up blood. "On concrete. The darkness never stops. But chaos. Chaos slows everyone down." He opposed the cave. Oxygen tanks. His hands were shaking badly. He couldn't hold the key. "You're hanging on the wall. I want you to open it. 3 of these tanks. Fill them all the way. That room with O2. Art is very flammable." A flash. "That's right," Artie said. He unzipped his Zippo. The light that comes out of her pocket, he microSD card holder and delivered. "Give it back. Keep it safe. Take it now. Open the key, open the valves, then go to that circuit breaker box. When I give the signal, you pull the main lever." Sarah hesitated. "What's happening to you?" "I'm holding the rope," Artie spoke in a soft voice. He looked outside the door. The handle turned. A person. They broke the lock. Sarah opened it. The key. She inserted the valves. The first tank, then the second, then third. A loud whistle filled the room. The space is filled with pure oxygen and is rich air, which turns the basement into one. It could be a bomb. She ran to the breaker box. It was a huge box painted red. Main utility switch/disconnector. Door leading to the lower floor. It exploded. 3 tactical officers. They are flooded with their weapons. They have taken out lasers. Vision, crossing the darkness. Not the real Julian Cain. Without haste, she approached him with a handkerchief. Nose. The end of the road, Arthur. Cain, he shouted, his voice, and it echoed above him. The gas that came out hissed. There was no room left to run. The rose of wisdom. He wasn't relying on anything now. Standing, in a colored hospital gown in blood, his eyes fixed on the man. The one who took his life 30 years ago. I'm not competing, Artie said, telling Julian. Cain ordered. Marcus, call Art. Sarah, leave in the sound of thunder. The circuit breakers are off. The hospital is dead. The lights are on. The basement disappeared immediately. It became completely dark for a few seconds. Then Artie did the unthinkable. It has a metal breaking rod. It shakes and shakes the floor with all its might. With exposed terminals, the high-voltage junction box next to it. Direct electric power. Chest. Boom. A giant blue-white electric arc. It exploded in oxygen-rich air. Like a small lightning storm. The flash was blinding, it burned the retina. Men wearing night vision goggles. They shouted at each other and snapped their weapons. Their faces are like a sudden brightness. He overloaded the sensors and blinded them. The sparks ignited the flow of oxygen. It was not an explosion, but a disaster. Suddenly a wall of fire rolled down above the roof. Blow out the fire. Pressure pipe. How long? Water and gas have returned after falling a room in a turbulent steam vortex, smoke and flashing electric arcs. Move, Sarah. Repair tunnel. Artie shouted, pushes it into a small, dark lid on the floor behind the boilers. Come. With me, she said, crying and holding his hand. I have to close the door, Artie said. He shouted again. He looked up and saw her. Illuminated by fading sparks. Show the world, Sarah. Tell them we're alive. He pushed the lid into the lid and closed it with force. The big lock. Sarah looked down. Up. She saw Artie turning back. The wall of smoke where Cain and his people stood. He stumbled, coughed, and was shot. Blindly. She saw Artie. Vance. Come back. There was no sick old man. No more. He was a cavalryman of the 77th Division. He ran into the smoke. The darkness inside the submarine was complete. It wasn't just a lack of light. It was a heavy and physical burden, stifling. When Sarah pulls the main circuit breaker, the sound of the life support machine in the hospital systems are dead. Immediately a more powerful silence. The only sound left was the sound of a whistle. Oxygen tanks, including an invisible, combustible force in the air. Sarah stood frozen with the cold. The iron of that crushing box, its heart. He hit her ribs hard as one. A captured bird. She couldn't see Artie. She con Cain nie seen nie, but you could hear them. The chaotic movement of shoes on concrete. Cain's tactical team also had difficulty adapting. The visual parts are gone. The mercenaries shouted, their voices rising high. Night vision is fading. The transition destroyed the sensors. Turn off the fire. Cain's voice trailed off. Through the dark. He doesn't seem shocked. As angry as a man who has just had dinner. The reservation has been cancelled. He an old man with a hole in his stomach. He can't. It's been a long journey. Change into thermals. Sarah. He held his breath. In the heat, the heat. Signature. You will see Artie fever. A warm body shines like a lamp dark. But Artie knew this. The corner of the room near the steam pipes, a sound like a shot came. Clang, clang, clang. The contact went out, a mercenary shouted. Clear laser cut sights darkness, which connects to steam pipes. Feet, feet, feet. Loaded bullets fired from metal drill holes with high-pressure steam line. White, burning stream. The steam exploded with a banshee's scream, the left side of the room an overheated cloud. Keep stoking the fire, you fools. Cain shouted. He is misleading. You. Steam did exactly what Artie did. That is, it created a wall of heat, the flower of heat that blinded the word safety glasses. Now Cain's men were blind. In every spectrum. You are in my world now, Julian. The sound of art floated out of the darkness. It was impossible to know where it came from. Concrete room acoustics with his voice everywhere. You spent 30 years on the air. Conditional offices that sign assassination orders. You've forgotten what the forest smells like. I smell a dead man, Cain replied. Even though Sarah could hear the screams, your self-confidence will decrease. You think, will the darkness save you? I have 3 husbands. At the door. You are trapped in a box. I'm not trapped, Artie whispered. The voice suddenly moved closer to Sarah. She jumped, almost screaming, but a cruel hand covered his mouth. Artie leaned firmly behind her. She can feel the sticky moisture. Fresh blood flows in the hospital. The dress faded quickly. The energy you found there lost, burned by adrenaline. Claw. The hat. Artie took a deep breath. Her ear. Behind the teapot is a well site repair. This will happen later. The storm will pass. I will not go without you, Sarah whispered, holding his hand. Sarah, Artie said, his voice. A mixture of pain and love. My feet septic. I've been shot in the stomach. I can't breathe. I can't even stand up. If I try to get down, I will block the road with that hole, and we will both die. No. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I couldn't delete it. Listen to me, Artie. He pressed something cold and hard. In her hand. Zippo lighter. It's not about me. It was never about. Truth. If history stops, it dies. In this room. If you go, ghosts. The spirits will finally find peace. There was a tactical team on the other side of the room. Reorganize. Spray. Use. Sparkles. Clear the room. Raise. He started waiting for the white LED light he saw. In the steam and darkness, purify Sarah, and very close to where you are Artie was huddled behind the generator. Go, Artie ordered. Sergeant, this is a direct order. Nurse. Sarah cried softly. Trembling. She squeezed his hand once. Last time. Thanks, Artie. Go, Tommy's. My child. Run. Sarah fell to her knees. She found the metal ring on the floor. The lid. Heavy, rusty, with years of neglect. She lost it. Stimulates muscles, gives adrenaline a boost, the strength of 10 women. The sound of metal clashing on metal. The smell of sewage and decay wafted from above. It was the smell of freedom. It set her free. She herself in the hole. Before her she looked down at her head, it's on. Artivance from behind the generator. He stood straight. In the 3 tactical areas he looked like a wreck. Man, pale, bleeding, trembling, but he was holding a heavy iron spear in his hand. If it's Excalibur. Here, a mercenary shouted. Throw him down immediately. The gun. Artie didn't let go. He smiled. The bloody wolf smiled. Broken arrow. Artie whispered. He picked it up. Liver. But he didn't warn them. Men. He shook it off with every step. The life he left behind at the crossroads, the wall with those high-voltage cables. Find the buyers who are exposed. Because of. Cain screamed and realized too late what had happened. There was a hissing in the room. Oxygen. Artie's iron rod appeared on the live broadcast. Sarah closed the lid tightly and locked it with a key. Just like the world above, they roll. It turned white. The explosion was not the same. The movie Fireball. It was a shocking storm. These are the foundations. Earth. Even through a heavy iron gate. And the concrete floor, Sarah felt. Her beating. Dust and rust were spread all over it. Her head. The sound was a muffled scream. What's rattling in her teeth? Finger. Silence. Sarah turned to the little girl. A flashlight on her keychain. A small one. A sad ray in the oppressive darkness cave. She started to pull. The cave was scary. It was only 3 hours. Wide foot, softened by 1.5 muds filled with cold water flowing near the wall water. Rotten ran away from her. Light, their red eyes shine within them darkness. Her knees were pushing hard against them. Concrete. Her cleaning clothes were soaked in water. The commotion. She wanted to stop. She wanted to. He curled up in the fetal position and cried. Until the end of the world. Image of Art standing in that light, smiling. He destroyed the life that burned within him. I thought. He sacrificed himself so that you could see him. The truth. This idea forced him to move forward, step by step. Inch by inch, meter by meter. She lingered for hours. Her hands went numb. Her thoughts began to wander. Playing her tricks. She heard him. She heard my father's voice. The artist's voice. The shadow is long, but the fox runs fast. Midnight. Finally, she saw a large one above her. Moonlight, real moonlight, she pierced the darkness. The big one didn't move. Shock. Rose, was she rolling all this way? Only to die in a garbage dump. She screamed an ancient cry. He got angry and hit him on the shoulder. With iron. Once, twice, on the third. When he hit it, the hinges of the lock came loose. Sarah climbing with claws, breathing with difficulty. He rolled on the wet asphalt. The rain, the mucus that comes out of her face. She is also the road behind the garbage dump. Sirens for distant traffic coming out of the city, she sprinkled everything on it. She looked at her bag. The chain was still there. She wasn't there. The quiet nurse Sarah Jenkins is no more. She was a messenger. And she had to be delivered. It took me 4 hours. Sarah was sitting in the back corner. All-night internet cafe, 3 miles away hospital. A teenage boy on the table. She saw him dirty and covered in blood. Wipe it with an alarm, but a bill of $100. Emergency cash supply purchased quiet and private cottage. Her hands she was so shaken that she couldn't go inside. MicroSD card in the reader. The computer screen was shaking. File Operation Silent Night, 1982, 1889 AD. She opened the first file. A scanned letter signed by Julian, California. This allows the use of Perishable Goods Section 77 for transporting unregistered goods, heroin and guns in Cambodia border. She opened the second file. There was a list of references, mass graves, where are the people who refuse to follow. The messages were buried. She opened the third one. File. It was a bank record. Counting in the billions. Dollar. The money that Cain built. Rich. Money bought. Political influence. Sarah felt a cold. The anger settled in his chest. It was not only corruption. It was bad. It was pure. Contaminated evil suit and tie for 3 decades. She opened a browser. She's not the only one. It can be sent to the police. The police can to buy. Cain was in police custody. She went to the entrances to the installation. The largest news agencies in the world. The New York Times, The Guardian, Al Jazeera, Washington Post. She found the code. Dropbox for Dropbox. She attached the files and uploaded 10%. She looked out the window. A police officer. The patrol car slowly passed by. Sarah bent down and looked. Hang her head. 45% my lost phone. She's sitting at the table. She knows what she has to do. But she had to do it to destroy it. Call. Charge 80%. She immediately turned on the phone. Full of 50 missed calls and messages. Where are you? The police are here. Sarah, she has a number too. The FBI field office in Seattle. Local police, federal authorities. FBI Seattle, report your emergency. Her name is Sarah Jenkins, and she a calm, fearful, and fierce voice. I am currently uploading classified ads. About Julian Cain. The massacre of Section 77. Until you follow this call, the world knows it. Upload 100% smell. Madam, operator, stay on the line. She said, her voice changing immediately. No, Sarah said. She took out the microSD card. He took out the card and broke it in half. The digital copy is gone. It was in the cloud. Now. I'm done. She hung up the phone. She left. Outside the cafe and in the rain. 2 days later, Sarah was sitting in the starting room. SeaTac Airport. She looks different. Her hair was cut short and dyed black. She was also wearing large sunglasses and gray invisibility cloak. Television screens. Hanging from the ceiling, they were all ready. On the same news channel. The vote took place in low, but the headlines were loud. Bright red text. Defense contractor arrested in mass arrests corruption scandal. The recording. Chaos outside luxury property Virginia. FBI agents in glass windows. A man is chained to a we are waiting for an SUV. It was Julian Cain. He didn't look like it. The gentle savior from the hospital. The corridor was old. It seemed small. His hair was messy. He shouted at the cameras, but no one was there. He no longer listens to his orders. The news anchor's voice cut off. Documents published by an anonymous source detailed information about the illegal arms trafficking that took place and extrajudicial killings from Cain's private company. The leak of information. It also explains the fate of Section 77, former Special Forces. It is considered a clerical error. The Pentagon announced that it had launched a full investigation. Sarah saw Cain on the moon. Car. She didn't smile. She just had feelings. A heavy weight lifted from her chest. She didn't know she had weight. When she was a little girl, he watched his father look at the wall. The presenter continued. Unfortunately, the leak has cost money. Officials. The fire in St. Louis is still under investigation. Jewish hospital. Although there are no staff or employees, the patients were injured, and the bodies were an unknown person was found in below. Forensic analysis shows that he was the one who created it. Explosions to prevent warlords entering the main hospital center levels. He is considered a hero. They showed me a photo. It was very cruel. Hospital image from security camera taken from the lobby a few hours before the riot. This Artie, Vance pointed out. He seemed weak, yes, but he stood straight. Sarah reached into her bag. His fingers moved on the zipper. She pulled it. Outside. She bought a new flint and liquid in a gas station. She went there. The large glass window, looking out. Cobblestone street. The rain has stopped. The sun tried to break the gray. The clouds of the Pacific Northwest. She turned. The open hood. Crack. She turned the wheel. A scream. A strong, steady orange flame. It exploded. She danced in the reflection. Glass. Clear area, Sergeant, she whispered. She looked at the fire. Long time, in honor of that man, he did not allow anyone to be treated until he was cured. Someone finally found someone like him. Soldier. She hit him with a hammer. Click. Mission accomplished. Nurse Sarah Jenkins picked up her bag. She was no longer running away. She was moving forward. She had a list of names. Other families of Class 77. To find them. She had to tell that. Not only their fathers and brothers, they are gone. They were heroes. She was the only one left to tell. History. And this, my friends, is the story. The spirit of St. Jude. A terrifying reminder that history is written by the winners. But sometimes it's true. And Artie Vance only ran for 30 years. Stop and fight when it matters most. He died so that the truth might live. It makes you wonder how many secrets there are. Buried in the people we pass by every time day. The homeless veteran on the corner. A quiet old man in a nursing home. The wars they still fight among themselves. If this story really touched you, hit me, please do me a favor. Like button. This tells YouTube that types of stories about truth, bravery and sacrifice are important. And if you are, do you want to join our community? Historians and truth seekers meet. Sign up and turn on notifications. I have another story coming next week. About a deep-sea diver. Something in the Mariana Trench. The government tried to hide it for 50 years. You don't want to miss this. Share it. This video is for anyone who wants it. Listen to this. And wait until next time. Surrounding safe.